Hello, boys and girls. All right, we're going to continue learning about what happened before Jesus died on the cross. All right, so remember, first Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, right? And then on Friday, he had the Last Supper with his disciples where he broke the bread and he had everybody drink some wine to remember that his body and his blood are going to be shed for his people. And then after supper, he washed his disciples' feet to show that we're supposed to be servants, just like how comes as our king, but also as our servant. And then we learned last time about how Jesus went to go pray in the garden. And remember, Jesus told his disciples to stay up and pray and to keep watch. And Jesus went off and he prayed, God, my Father, if you can, please make it so that I don't have to do this, but your will be done. And Jesus came back, and guess what his disciples were doing? Right, remember? They were sleeping, and Jesus woke them up and said, couldn't you have stayed awake for a little bit longer? So he went back and he prayed and he prayed and he prayed. And then he went back to his disciples. And this is where we're going to talk about today's story about Judas betrays Jesus and Jesus arrested. So boys and girls, back during when Jesus and his disciples were having the meal, Jesus told his disciples, tonight one of you is going to betray me. And all of his disciples were like, it's not me, it's not me. And Judas, Jesus said, it is you. And Judas went off. Now, boys and girls, at this time, there were some people that did not like Jesus. They didn't like the message Jesus was saying. They didn't like that Jesus was saying that he was the Son of God, and they wanted to kill him. All right. So they found Judas, and they told Judas, if you bring Jesus to us, we will pay you 30 pieces of silver. Now, boys and girls, that's pretty bad, hey? For 30 pieces of silver, Judas was going to betray Jesus. Now, boys and girls, for the craft today, you are going to make your handprint. Okay? And you're going to color it, and then you're going to put 30 pieces of silver. You're going to color nicer than I am too. Okay? If you have construction paper at home, okay, you can cut some circles out of gray or silver construction paper, and you can glue 30 circles on, okay, for the 30 pieces of silver. But if you don't have gray construction paper, you can just take a gray crayon or a gray marker, and you can just make some circles. But I want you to try to count out 30. Okay, oh, it's hard to see that. All right, so you can also just draw 30 circles. Okay, those are kind of your choices. All right, so boys and girls, Judas agreed to betray Jesus. So while Jesus was in the garden, Judas was with those leaders, and they made a big mob, and Judas knew that Jesus was in Garden of Gethsemane, and he led the mob all the way to the garden to where Jesus was. And when Jesus saw when Jesus was praying, he came the last time to his disciples and he said, the time has come. And through the dark night came a mob ready to arrest Jesus. And at the front of the mob was Judas. And Judas, he went up to Jesus and he gave him a kiss because he told the group that the person that he gives a kiss to is the one that they should arrest, that was Jesus. All right. So Judas went and gave Jesus a kiss, and they went to arrest Jesus. Now, Peter, who was standing close by Jesus, he thought, oh, this is terrible, and he was going to rescue Jesus. And so he took a sword, and he swung a sword, and it hit one of the people in the ear, and it actually chopped off the ear. And Jesus said to Peter, Peter, don't do this thing. And Jesus, instead of being angry at that time because people have come to arrest him, Jesus took that ear that had been chopped off and he put it back on the man's ear and he healed the man. So even though people were meaning to do bad things, Jesus still loved everybody. And Jesus still loved that person and decided to heal him in that time. And guess what? They arrested Jesus, and all of Jesus's disciples, they actually ran away. They didn't stand there and defend Jesus and try to keep them off from arresting Jesus. They all ran away because they didn't want to get arrested too. All right. So next story we'll talk about what happens more after this. All right. Bye, boys and girls.